to come hit him out of bounds.
Screaming, scorching, time winding, incomplete. Here comes a late penalty marker. Receiver defended by Lance Robinson, and as he hit the turf, he was calling for the flag.
Defense, number 7. Bowman places the spot, a foul. Automatic first down.
Yeah, that's pass interference. I mean, he gets there early. Brinson's ability to continue for the football. It's a bang-bang play, but Lance Robinson was the first bang when he needed to be the second.
It's the green wave tonight. The drive continues for SMU. Back on the field.
There's a question, Roy. There may have been a tip at the line of scrimmage. Able to contact the receiver. The in-man on the line of scrimmage. Time so that the fans can sort of get into it. Tulane can see it. They're pointing at it. The ball was fluttering a little bit as it got towards the receiver. If it's tipped, Tulane's going to have a 4th down stop.
It becomes a free-for-all.
Oh, there's not enough from that angle. Enough there to say the ball was tipped.
Keith Cooper waved his hand as the pigskin was floating by. The trajectory never changed. The spin of the
indisputable video evidence is what you're going to need. This is our best shot of it. And I mean, I don't think you see the ball long enough to establish how the ball was coming. There's a slight flutter on it. I don't think you see.
The ruling on the field stands.
So there's certainly not enough there to say that it was tipped.
Willie Fritz didn't like any part of that sequence, but from our vantage point,
say it's a game of inches. I would say it's a game of millimeters. And if Keith Cooper hadn't trimmed his fingernails this morning, it might have been a
1st and 10. The Tulane 34. Track to represent the group of 5 in the New Year's 6. Knighton tries to get to the edge. Made by Pettisglow with a penalty marker down as well.
Called for
personal foul, face mask, defense, number 12, 15-yard penalty, automatic.
Opposite side of the field. It's just a silly 15 yards to give up here. Not doing anything. Yeah, grab the face mask, yanks it down. Before with the championship on the line.
2 costly penalties, essentially back-to-back. Just moments later, here's Jennings and quickly corralled. It's a race to the quarterback, Darius Hodges. Of 2.
And Tulane changed the picture post-snap on Kevin Jennings. It looked like he was going to come down and run support and give you a 1-high safety look, which means man-to-man on the outside with his receiver. George sprints back to the hash. There's 2 guys on Hudson. Nowhere to go with the
Mustangs facing 2nd and long. Knighton with a stutter step and a jump cut. A 5-yard gain, and the crowd will be a factor on 3rd down.
You can just feel every 3rd down getting bigger and bigger. Tulane has force a field goal here on a 3rd and long. You have to keep Kevin Jennings in the pocket, not let him scramble.
Seven yards here to keep the drive going for SMU. Jennings looking towards the end zone. Man-to-man coverage and incomplete. Hudson, the receiver. Robinson in coverage. And now a field goal coming from Colin Rogers.
I don't love what you ended up with there with the fade ball to the end zone. They put the formation into the boundary to help force the defense to dictate whether or not it was going to be one-on-one to the field. It was. And you just end up with a jump ball with Jordan Hudson, who physically is the most talented, but the quarterback ends up throwing it out of bounds, doesn't give his receiver a chance.
Rogers 1 for 2 in the field goal department. A make from 48, a miss wide right from 40. And this attempt from 32 makes it a 6-point game. So on 4th and 7, Rogers now 2 for 3. 20-14, SMU on the road in search of its first conference championship since way back in 1984.
This team has done a tremendous job of keeping its composure throughout the ups and downs of this game. And boy, have there been some ups and some downs. But on that last drive, we saw Tulane actually be the team that committed some of the unforced errors. The pass interference, that's an effort play, but the DJ Douglas face mask was a free 15 yards. And how about this? SMU has a chance to win their first American Conference Championship in their last year in the conference, but this would sort of complete their comeback from the death penalty that they got in the 80s.
Not only that, next season in the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, to exit the American with a title would be another launching point for Rhett Lashley, who just signed a contract extension within this past week. That was announced even though pen went to paper the night before the win against Navy last Friday. So all of this on the line, not to mention Tulane's trying to go back to a New Year's Six bowl game in consecutive seasons, and a win tonight and a comeback tonight will accomplish exactly that. Lewis sent backwards near the 19. Kobe Wilson, the tackle. Well, don't forget about our feature at ESPN Plus AAC events coming up tomorrow. Men's college basketball. It's Texas A&M Commerce versus SMU. Back in Dallas at 3 Eastern. Wednesday at 7 Eastern for women's hoops. New Orleans takes on Tulane. Coming up December 13th, men's basketball matchup. FIU facing 13th ranked FAU at 7 Eastern. If you're an AAC fan, you got to have it. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com/AAC. Pratt on the field again in his final start at Ullman.
I want to see them get back to more of those stretch runs to see if they can get some more seams.
And the penalty marker comes in.
False start. Offense. Number 5. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's wide receiver Keith Brown.
Officials have been on the flinches by the receivers.
Brown caught the touchdown pass that tied it up in the third quarter. Green Wave trailed by 6. Michael Pratt only 5 incompletions tonight in 18 attempts. He's been sacked 4 times, has the 1 touchdown through the air and 1 more on the ground. Uncorks it, Mekhi Hughes. Made 1 defender miss, racing ahead. And he'll get that penalty yardage back, an 8-yard gain. Ahmad Moses making the stop.
Great job of making Ahmad Walker miss in the open space. It's one-on-one. You work on this drill all the time. One-on-one with the defender. Walker's foot slips out from under him. Mekhi Hughes gets them close to back on schedule.
Liberty Flames no doubt watching this game as well, and head coach Jamie Chadwell led that team to an undefeated season in a Conference USA championship. Flames rooting for chaos. Hughes tripped up at the 25, so a short gain, and it's 3rd down.
This was timeout for an injury.
Now 3rd down this year for Tulane. 42% on the air, just 1 for 9 tonight, and that one, the touchdown toss to Keith Brown from 42 yards out. Charles Woods slow to get off the field. Davis Robinson comes in to replace him. The true freshman LSU transfer.
If Tulane drops back to pass, Isaiah Smith, the defensive end to the top, has been phenomenal rushing the passer today.
Boy, the ball may have popped out late. And there's a lot of activity surrounding the quarterback that ate the turf. Roberts with the tackle. And SMU's going to force another Tulane punt.
And they had Isaiah Smith lined up with Elijah Roberts, who leads this team in tackles. And him against a guard is just a mismatch. Great job of using the power to get back to the quarterback. That ball was coming out in a poor punt.
Carroll off the side of his foot. The punt never even reached midfield. So after the 5th sack of the game by SMU, Ponies will get it back on the plus side of the field, all the way down at the 30-yard line.
2 Power 5 teams.
Competitive in those games against Oklahoma and TCU. After the 10-yard punt, Jennings races for another Mustangs first down. And here come the Ponies, and a chance, Roddy, to go up by 2 scores.
And if they're able to punch the ball in the end zone, it's going to be really hard for Tulane with the way they've moved the ball in this game.
Knighton along the left side. Tried to run over Grubbs. He'll be tackled there. No gain on the play. Even a field goal here makes it a 2-score affair, 23-14.
I have been so impressed with this SMU offensive line today. The question was, were they going to be able to run the ball successfully? They've got 153 yards rushing. Some of that's been Kevin Jennings, but most of it has been this offensive line moving this really good Tulane front.
Roddy, they've run now 68 plays compared to just 40 for the Green.
33 teams in the country. So I don't know how you would penalize SMU for basically playing 2 Power 5 teams.
Competitive in those games against Oklahoma and TCU. After the 10-yard punt, Jennings raises for another Mustangs first down. And here come the Ponies, and a chance, Roddy, to go up by 2 scores.
And if they're able to punch the ball in the end zone, it's going to be really hard for Tulane with the way they've moved the ball in this game. Punch the ball in the end zone, it's going to be really hard for Tulane with the way they've moved the ball in this game.
Knighton along the left side. Tried to run over Grubbs. He'll be tackled there. No gain on the play. Even a field goal here makes it a 2-score affair, 23-14.
I have been so impressed with this SMU offensive line today. The question was, were they going to be able to run the ball successfully? They've got 153 yards rushing. Some of that's been Kevin Jennings, but most of it has been this offensive line moving this really good Tulane front.
Roddy, they've run now 68 plays compared to just 40 for the Green Wave. Jennings, a crafty finish there at the end, brought down at the 10. So a gain of 4. Keith Cooper, the tackle, and now it's 3rd down. And Jennings will come all the way over to the sideline to talk things over with his head coach.
This is the 1980s version of headset communication that we're still operating under, but Rhett Lashley giving his quarterback likely the play call and a couple of tips. Plenty of time on the play clock.
Roddy had to say anything but turnover right here, right?
If you don't like it, run, is what I'm guessing he said.
Levine, the running back. Pressure off the edge. Jennings falling down. Incomplete, and another flag on the field. Mushy Dixon was open. Jennings had to throw it too quickly. And the initial indication, this flag on SMU.
It was in the direction of the quarterback hit by Jesus Machado on Kevin Jennings. From the view that I saw, it did not look like anything close to roughing the passer, so I think you may get a hold here. The question is, does Willie Fritz want to give this SMU offense another opportunity to convert? And I think that's a wise decision by Willie Fritz. SMU could have gotten in a situation where you're going to give them an opportunity to convert. They may throw the ball downfield. You get a pass interference, which we've seen. So you take their field goal attempt and then back them up a little bit further in field goal range.
Now Rogers 2 for 3 tonight. He did miss back in the first half from 40. He's connected from 48 and 32 to atone for that miss. Chip shot here from 27. And to make it a 2-score game, False start will back him up 5.
False start. Offense. Number 64. 5-yard penalty.
Feels like every flinch has been called other than the one on the touchdown. I'll go off of it. I'll stop.
What's a valid comment? Terrible missed call resulting in a Tulane touchdown. Rogers trying to make it 3 in a row. The sophomore for Prattville, Alabama. It's underneath it and connects. 23-14, and for the first time tonight, one of these teams has a 2-score advantage. Less than 9 to go here in New Orleans, and a frantic finish coming up. Aflac trivia question back in New Orleans. So the Tulane Green Wave have 23 wins since the start of the 2022 campaign. That is 4th most among FBS teams. Right, Jones, who are the top 3? I mean,
first 2 are easy.
Georgia and Michigan.
I think the 3rd one is Ohio State, because the only team that beats Ohio State is Michigan. So I'm going to go those the top 3.
You go with the Buckeyes. 9-point game here at Yulman. So let's take a look at the answer for the Aflac trivia question. Green Wave get the football back into the answer. Looks like this. Georgia, Michigan, Washington. The Huskies. They won 13 games this year, undefeated at 13-0.
There you go. The good old Huskies.
Kalen DeBoer, big-time ball coach up there in Seattle.
Suck one in on me there. Didn't account for the win yesterday. I guess Ohio State, having not played in the conference championship game,
that probably hurt.
23.
That's right.
22 wins for Ohio State.
Penix impressive last night. Huskies going back to the playoff for the first time since 2016, D-Matt.
Tulane is starting to feel pressure to get something going offensively. Michael Pratt went to everyone on offense here on the sideline and says, I need you, it's time to go. Then he went specifically to Chris Brazel and said, it is your time. They were drawing routes with their fingers. Brazel hasn't been as involved in the game plan here tonight, but potentially on this drive.
We shall see. Pratt was harassed again. Nelson Paul. Well, the pocket came crashing down. Green Wave with just 178 total yards, 42 coming on one play, and a big 3rd down coming up.
It's a great point by you, D-Mac. Chris Brazel, 19 targets the last 2 games, only 5 here tonight, only 1 in the second half. The issue is they can't block SMU. The 2 tackles of Tulane have struggled mightily, and Elijah Roberts, when he's been reduced down against guards, has been unblockable. He's there now.
On 3rd down, Pratt. Brazel, there he is, and that's a first down. Did the ball pop out? They say it did. It's incomplete. Brazel in traffic, twisting and turning. Had it for a moment. And Pratt also took another hard hit. Very much here in New Orleans, the American Athletic Conference Championship. Daniels collects the punt on the fair catch. He struggled for a minute to maintain possession, but he does. So a punt of 46. So now Tulane, Roddy, needs the football back, and they've got to find a way to slow down Kevin Jennings and Rhett Lashley's offense, and they've done it at times, but they still trail by 9.
If you're SMU, you want to take the life out of this game, and quarterback run is going to be huge on this drive. So as you get deeper and deeper into this, the only thing that stops the clock are incomplete passes until we're down under 2 minutes. And the most valuable thing is the football. So Tulane's certainly going to be counting possessions and selling out to stop the run.
Green Wave with all 3 timeouts remaining. That becomes a factor. On 1st down, Wheaton tried to get to the edge, and he did not. Tyler Grubbs caught him at the line. It'll be 2nd and 10. Now Kevin Jennings, career start number 1, filling in for the injured Preston Stone. He has been effective through the air and on the ground. The 2 picks really the only sidebar to that.
Man, he has played well today. I know the 2 interceptions are there. One of them was just a throw that was slightly behind his receiver, but on the right decision. The other one is the decision that you'd like to have back. Other than that, he has been so good, especially in his first start.
It's the first question we asked Rhett Lashley yesterday about Kevin Jennings getting the start. And he said, quote, "I'm excited. He's got confidence. We've seen that tonight." Levine, after a gain of 2, will make it 3rd and 8. Machado the tackle, and here we go.
Here's where Kevin Jennings has shined, especially scrambling to throw the football. He's been able to get out and run a little bit, but his ability to create time and deliver to Tyler Levine's been huge. Preston Stone there, the injured quarterback, looking him on, rooting on his teammate.
Ponies 0 for 5 on 3rd down in this second half. They still lead 23-14. Here's Jennings, quarterback run. And he'll keep it alive for a moment and then get stacked up. So a 3-and-out force by the Tulane defense, and Machado able to spy on Jennings. Just a gain of 4. It'll be 4th down for SMU.
Yeah, but the bigger thing is SMU is going to drain about 2 minutes off the clock with that drive. Tulane is going to get the ball back, but their inability to create big plays is something that you feel confident in if you're Rhett Lashley. You just want your defense not to give up big plays here. Make Tulane drive the ball if they're going to get points.
It's been 40 years and a death penalty and a comeback for the ages for SMU since the last conference championship. Rhett Lashley taking his team into the ACC next season. Just signed a new contract extension. His team with a golden opportunity. Dante Fleming, the fair catch of the 22. Standing in the way is this Tulane team won the American Conference title a year ago. It's a punt of 45. The pressure has been there all night long for this SMU defense against Pratt.
And it's come from all over the place. Isaiah Smith's been phenomenal, the sophomore, getting to Michael Pratt multiple times. Elijah Roberts has also been fantastic, especially when they've gotten him on guards. But those tackles have really struggled for Tulane pretty consistently. 5 sacks on the day for Michael Pratt, who's taken an absolute beating.
Less than 6 to go. Green Wave needs some points. They need them quickly. Pressure again. And a pass caught for a 1st down by Jaquan Jackson. 2nd grab of the half. The pressure by Nelson Paul, and Pratt had just enough time that time. Green Wave have multiple 10-point comebacks this year, most recently against East Carolina on the road 2 weeks ago. Clayton Johnson stopped by Kobe Wilson after a gain of 5.
And we saw this up-tempo at the end of the first half get Tulane going, at least until they crossed midfield, having some success early on this drive as well.
Moving quickly, Pratt wants to go long. Instead, the dump off. It's dropped by Clayton Johnson. 3rd down.
But pressure by Nelson Paul. Again, against the tackle, Cameron Ware there, 1st team All-AAC. He's been no match. Really, this entire offensive line's been no match, at least from a pass blocking standpoint, for this SMU defense. And they haven't had to send pressure to be able to create. They haven't had to send blitzers to be able to create pressure. So I wouldn't expect them to here.
Nothing exotic so far tonight from Scott Simons. Mano a mano. 3rd and 5. They'll run it with Clayton Johnson, and I don't think so. Hit at the line, driven down, Ahmad Walker. It'll be 4th down, and at this point in time, Willie Fritz has to go for it.
And they do have to go for it. They're going to go with tempo, but they've got to get set as Yokeith Brown was slow to get back. Ahmad Walker comes from the left side of your screen all the way over to the right to make the tackle.
Tulane needs 5. Pratt cocks and fires, and intercepted. Picked off. Wachovia. SMU takes over. He was trying to spot his tight end, Alex Bauman. Wachovia stepped right in front of the pass.
They're going straight to the sticks. Michael Pratt knows exactly where he's going with the football. Wachovia, as you said, steps in front, but he sits on the route. There's no threat of him moving. He just sits right at the 1st down marker, drives on the football, takes it out of the hands of the big tight end. And, man, SMU can smell it. Their first championship since the early 80s. Now it's up to the offense to put the game away.
Wachovia pick 6 last week against Navy, his second of the season. They'll pop it to Moochie Dixon here. He's going to lose a couple. Would have been a turnover on downs with an incompletion. Instead, Wachovia records his 4th pick of the season.
Sorry, Roy. That's the first turnover for Tulane. SMU 3 turnovers on the day, or this game could be even worse. Like, Tulane's defense has really kept them in this. This offense for SMU has been phenomenal. The defense for SMU, the story all season long, their improvement, and it's shown in this game.
Only losses of the season coming at TCU and at Oklahoma. 2 games that were still undecided until later in those contests. Both matchups coming back in September. And the debate will rage on between now and tomorrow. Who should be the representative from the group of 5 in the New Year's 6? Liberty and SMU, if the Ponies hold on here. The strength of schedule favors the Mustangs from Dallas. Liberty undefeated as Conference USA champions from last night. Certainly has something to say about it. And Scott Simons, a defensive play caller, well, they have been locked in so many ways in the back half of this schedule. Here's Levine, and another first down for the Mustangs. Ronnie, SMU starting to leave no doubts who the better team was tonight.
And they're going to end up winning this game if they're able to hold on with a -2 turnover margin when the game was in the balance. Absolutely tremendous. This talented team that Rhett Lashley overhauled defensively through the transfer portal, coming in with its backup quarterback on the road against a team in Tulane that had been in this situation before, has been incredibly mature and really, for the better part of this game, dominant.
And the Ponies doing all of this with a quarterback who's a redshirt freshman making his first career start after Preston Stone broke his leg last week in the second quarter against Navy. Another timeout called. There's so many angles to attack what we've witnessed tonight with. At the end of the evening, the most important one is a conference championship on the line and a potential berth in a New Year's 6 bowl game. And you mentioned it earlier. The comeback from the death penalty going all the way back to 1984. It's been a long time coming for a team that used to be one of the best in the nation. And here's a look at the resumes. And, Roddy, what stands out?
The strength of schedule played. I mean, Liberty did not have a Power 5 opponent this year. 133rd in the country in strength of schedule played. There's 133 teams in the country that play FBS football. SMU's only 2 losses are going to be, both of them, on the road at Oklahoma and at TCU. And I understand TCU's not a bowl team this year, but going on the road to a Power 5, essentially you would be punishing SMU for going on the road and Power 5 opponents by rewarding Liberty and having them Texas because of the head-to-head. So if Florida State wins, it's going to be Michigan, it's going to be Washington, it's going to be Florida State, because an undefeated Power 5 conference champion is not getting left out, and it's going to be Texas, and Greg Sankey is not going to be in the New Year's 6, or excuse me, in the college ball playoff.
Begins there post Florida State. Now keep in mind, FSU in the ACC championship game could be without its backup quarterback, who's now the starter in Tate Rodemaker, against the Cardinals. So something to watch there with Jordan Travis out for the season. Jennings floats it down and incomplete. So on 3rd and long, it now becomes 4th down. R.J. Maryland, the intended receiver. DJ Douglas in coverage. And let's see what Rhett Lashley wants to do on 4th and 16. I don't think it's cut quite as clearly as you guys do. That will be a conversation tomorrow for the playoff selection committee to try to determine head-to-head how much does it matter from 2.5 months ago. And clearly Alabama's a different team compared to what happened in Tuscaloosa against Texas. But how do you frame that up, given that Texas arguably has the worst loss of the year between Alabama and Texas, and that setback in Dallas to Oklahoma? Rogers connects from downtown, a 45-yard field goal attempt. SMU extending its lead now to 26-14. T-Mac, what's your perspective here?
So I would have to argue that Alabama now has the best win of anybody in college football, being able to knock off the reigning back-to-back national champion in Georgia. Yes, the head-to-head matters, but it was early on in this season, and from my perspective, the College Football Playoff Committee has shown in years before that wins or losses that happen really early on in the season tend to matter less. So I'm holding on to the fact that Alabama now has the best win in all of college football this season.
It's a fair argument, and one that the only comeback is they played. And also, Texas's loss is in a rivalry game at a neutral site. So, essentially, Alabama winning on a Hail Mary in their rivalry game gets excused, or at least looked more past than Oklahoma being on the, than Texas being on the wrong end of that. It wasn't a Hail Mary, but it was a late drive by Dylan Gabriel that wins that game in Dallas. I mean, head-to-head has to matter at the end of the day.
If you're an Alabama fan, bottom line, you're rooting for Louisville tonight to upend
Absolutely.
Florida
And then it
State.
solves everything.
And then Alabama and Texas both make the playoff potentially with Michigan and Washington as well. Well, the drama certainly potentially begins there. And then it ends with this SMU Liberty conversation as the Flames were undefeated out of Conference USA. We've learned in the past that undefeated Group of 5 conference champion typically makes the New Year's Six, but SMU's resume is going to be awfully hard to overlook. Coming up tonight on ESPN, it's the Legends of Basketball Las Vegas Invitational for men's college hoops. USC faces off against number 11 Gonzaga. That's at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Catch all the action on the app as well.
The other thing about this SMU team, that when you're in the room, you're going to have to argue. The SMU team is more complete than Liberty. Top 15 in the country in both scoring offense and scoring defense. And when we showed the graphic on the other teams that are there, I mean, this is clearly one of the best teams in the country, and I think clearly the best Group of 5 team at this point.
Charles Woods bats down the pass intended for Brazel. It'll be second down. The times we've seen the Mustangs this year, the talent jumps off the screen.
It does.
The Power 5 transfers coming in, especially on defense. And this has been the best defense SMU has possessed in 4 decades, going back to the early 1980s. It was a focal point for this staff going into last offseason to be better in the secondary, better rushing the passer. And it's been all that and a lot more. Case in point, another sack. Isaiah Smith 6 times tonight. Michael Pratt, in his final start at Ullman, has been tackled behind the line of scrimmage.
Sound like a broken record. Isaiah Smith against the tackle. Rashad